Friday, a cold, chilly one. Got some great weather coming up here on the weekend. And what's going on with that? Are we ever going to get a city manager? Does anybody want to be our city manager, Brian? What are you picking up on all that?
Well, there's going to be another meeting on Tuesday about it. They seem like the city council seemed like they got a couple more candidates that they were interested in, but I kind of feel like it's pretty hard to really tell until they're in place. So just like any kind of hiring, it's pretty hard. But
well, like Pierre said, the job description is all over the place. Like, what are we looking for here? And we got to find a good one, that's for sure. We can't get this one wrong, without a doubt. Anyway, good to have you. I'm David Ayers. We have got Brian McMillan, our editor, publisher, owner of our local newspaper, Palm Coast Observer.
Good morning.
And we've got some great people here in the studio. Back, we'll go left to right here. Pastor Charles Solano with the Grace Community Food Pantry. Good to have you, Charles.
Good to be here, David. Always.
And also we have our brand new, out-of-the-box new president of our Palm Coast Flagler Regional Chamber of Commerce, John Phillips.
I appreciate being here, David, and I guess this is back-to-back weeks for me. I was with you last week, even before I started on the job out at the educational event there at the community center. So great to be together again.
Oh yeah, twice in a row. Yeah. We don't want to overexpose you here, but that was a great thing. The Flagler Schools and the Education Foundation put on an awesome job fair. Brian, you were there. We took Free for All on the road to the community center and talked to a lot of people. That was pretty cool. What did you think about that?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, the idea of how much opportunity there is for students and what, different options they have. And, we'll just have to make sure we don't invite John onto the show for another few months.
Yeah, 2 Fridays in a row. They're going to be worn out with me soon.
Yeah. I thought the job fair, I thought it was really cool because we saw they bust in all the high school kids from Matanzas and FEC. And what really kind of struck me was the kids, they got to actually see human beings that own companies and have the power to hire them, but they saw that they were wanted into these careers and things, as opposed to, what are you going to do? And all that, and just kind of looking at things or resumes and all that. Here's a real human connection with actual businesses. And some kids made deals and got hired right there last Friday on the spot. I mean, that's I thought that was, really cool to let kids see it was just like 200 businesses, colleges, universities were there. And, and they're all saying, we want you.
Yeah, I thought Teresa Rizzo and LaShaka did a really good job organizing. I'm not sure whose event it was, to be totally honest with you, but the bottom line is it was a community event, most importantly. They had businesses in one room, they had colleges and universities in another, and then government in the third room, which was military and, of course, our local government. The sheriff was there, along with several others. So there were multiple opportunities for students to go to all 3 rooms and explore all sorts of options for them for their future. So really well organized, well attended, and for me, it was a great way to be introduced to some more folks in the community.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we're going to find out about you. Let's go. We go by it all the time. Elizabeth Ann Seton Church in Palm Coast, and right on Belterre, and kind of right on with Pine Lakes, and you're right at a major intersection, right? And also, what is the other one you're on there?
Cypress Point.
Cypress Point. So Terry with Bob Snyder, both here. We're going to be we're doing our kicking off, kind of a pre-kickoff of our $1 million food-a-thon. So we're going to talk about that, working together. We have an event at Elizabeth Ann Seton Saturday, tomorrow, if you're listening to us live. And Terry Kennelly, you are the director of outreach for the church. Is that close?
Yeah, one of the directors, yes.
So what do you do as a director of outreach for the church anyway?
We do have a food pantry, like Pastor Solano, on a much, much smaller scale. People have to actually come into our building. And our building is on campus in the far back, because we do have a school, so we stay away from the school with the traffic. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we can give food 10 to 1. People come in every 4 weeks and can get food from us. They just need a Flagler County ID, and we do fill out paperwork and have a file on them.
And so anybody, do you have to be a church member?
No, not at all.
You have to be homeless, or what's the qualification?
No, just a member of Flagler County that needs help.
So it doesn't matter what your faith or no faith or who you are? No judgment zone?
Not. Precisely.
Okay. All right. So tell me who you brought with you there, Terry.
He actually brought me.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hello, David. Hi, everyone. I feel like I'm back home.
You are Bob Snyder.
You want to talk about COVID, Bob?
Yeah.
No, that's in the past there, Brian.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bob Snyder retired. He was our director of the Flagler County Health Department and battled through the whole COVID thing with us with daily broadcast on the radio and updates and immunizations and updates and Dr. Bickle and just it was, wow. It almost seems like a blur thinking back just when that was. So
Yeah.
So now you're retired and you're involved in the community. Doesn't mean you're just fishing all day.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know how to fish. So, and friends will attest to that. Yeah, I am now the acting president of the Rotary Club of Flagler Beach. So give them a pitch, and very involved with St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Catholic Church. And so glad that we could bring Pastor Solano at Grace Community and Flagler Broadcasting, David Yu, and the Outreach Ministry Food Pantry, and our friends there, Terry being one of the directors. We're looking forward to our Food Truck Palooza tomorrow. I know we're going to talk about that momentarily.
Yeah. So for listeners going, all right, well, what's all this got to do with me? It's got everything to do with you. So hang on. We got a seat at the microphone for you. Also, by the way, we're now streaming video on our WNZF Facebook page, so you can see what's going on in the studio, also on our YouTube channel. And we're podcasting all this and broadcasting it. So we want everybody to know about Food Truck Palooza tomorrow, but mostly why we do Food Truck Palooza. And you were saying you give out food, Pastor Solano gives out food. I'm thinking, like, is this a competitive thing on who can give out the most food, Pastor Solano?
Absolutely not. No, we network more than we never compete. What's the point? Food insecurity is affecting a lot of people, and no one pantry, regardless of how large you are, can accommodate every meal for hungry families. So I would not be surprised at all that someone that comes to get food at our pantry goes to Mother Seton as well, and other pantries as well. I mean, oftentimes we, we'll when we're loading up a trunk of a car, there'll be food in there because they went somewhere else, and they that's almost like a shopping day. They have to do it. They have to get it out of the way because they're working and they have a life, Mm-hmm. So we're just glad to help, and I think it's great. The more, the merrier.
So we've talked about this. This is our fourth year for the $1 Million Foodathon. Fourth year coming up. All right. And so our goal was to raise enough money to buy $1 million worth of food on our first year, and we didn't get it, and kind of like combined, because you have a 5-to-1 buying ratio. So if I donate $100 to the Grace Community Food Pantry, you can go buy $500 worth of food for people, right?
That's correct. Yeah. I
mean, so that's a good reason to give and feel good about it, because your 100 feel like you just bought $500 with of food for somebody. Mm-hmm. So people are like, okay, first of all, how many families a month do you feed?
We've been averaging for the last year about 6,500 families a month, and when
does that stun you, Terry?
Well, yeah, we do 250 a month, and that's a lot for us. But so that's just.
I thought it was like.
What a blessing they are. We all are.
I thought it was like 5,500.
No.
It's 6,500?
6,500. Right now, it's probably down to about 62 because they get part-time jobs when Bike Week comes down or Race Week, so we won't see a few hundred families. But then they eventually come back. We get new sign-ins all the time, maybe about 120 a month or so. Every week somebody is new that didn't even know we existed come. And, the thing is that we average that amount, even though our database has more than 10,000 families in it. It's just that they come when they need it. Some of them have a hiccup. They don't come every week. There are chronic users that come, but maybe 500 or 600 families. But the rest are just coming because something happened and they have to make bills this week.
And a lot of people have moved here since we've done this, and some people, I've heard about the $1 Million Foodathon and all that. So basically, we have raised enough in our 3 years to buy $1.5 million worth of food.
That's right.
Right. So it took us a while to get to the $1 million mark. We're at 1.5 million we have bought. And this year, our goal is to get it to the $2 million worth of food, which would be raising $100,000 on a 5-to-1 ratio with that. And so the Food Truck Palooza kind of kicks that off to it. But it's really important to understand why do we give for anything? I mean, why do we give to the black guy with a white violin standing by McDonald's down there? I mean, what is it about human beings that for the most part have a desire to give and to help?
Well, it's like the Bible says, it's more blessed to give than to receive. Actually, we're created that way. We're givers by nature. And when we deny giving, actually, we're not living according to our DNA. So I've always said, especially down here, where life is getting a little bit busier, but it's nothing from where we all came from. So you participate in the community more here. You have a little bit more time. You're more relaxed. People that retire down here, they want to enjoy the life that we have down here, but they also want to participate in giving back because they've been successful in being able to retire. And so we have really good hearts down here. I mean, when Flagler County has a need, Flagler County residents respond.
Well, you're also a pastor. You have a church, and the tithing thing, it's like 10% is. Does that count if they give to the food pantry? Can we check that and say, okay, I'm good with Jesus. I just donated.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and we have a lot of people that do designate on their check, a percentage of the check to go to the pantry, give to God. You're never going to go wrong. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and there's a lot of charities here in need in Flagler County. I mean, Brian, we try to help and give publicity to all the different ones we do. Danielle Anderson with her Lifeline radio show puts, charities on the air to tell their stories that you wouldn't even know about. But it's a very giving county. I think that we really do step up for things that are needed. But to me, there's no more basic need than food.
Yeah, well, food brings people together too. I mean, it's a big insecurity to look in your pantry and you don't know what you're going to feed this week, or how you're going to make it, how you're going to pay your rent, how you're going to pay your car bill. I mean, think about rent. Look, I have a graph here I wanted to show you. So
there's a camera.
Yeah,
hold it up to the camera.
Okay, so in June of 2023. Mm-hmm. These are the guidelines from USDA, and we get USDA food. A portion of what we give out is USDA. And a household of one had an income of $17,667. If that's how you qualify financially. So that's you ask them if they are income eligible. And then a family of 8 was $60,619. That's 2023. Now from July of these just came out July 2024 to June 2025. A family of one, income eligibility is $45,000.
What? Wait a minute, that jumped from $17,000 to $45,000?
Yeah. Last year was $19,000.
Okay.
This year it jumped to $45,180. And then a family of 8, income eligibility is $158,156. And it's $16,140 for every individual that you would add to that. So it's inflation, right? What else could it be? Everything's gone up, not just food. Everything's gone up. So now they're saying that people, because we hear things like, "What are you doing, giving people food when they have a nice car?" Well, what's that got to do with it? Nice cars. What's that got to do with it? People get hungry. I don't care what you're driving. And we wouldn't be doing our due diligence. We wouldn't be doing our community outreach if we wait till they drive up in a jalopy before we give them food. Mm-hmm. Aren't we here to prevent them from getting to that jalopy? So,
we heard that too. I mean, there's always negative people, as you know, that, and if they're not giving for it for some reason, they want to make sure nobody else gives either. That's stupid, but yet you see that, and it's like so hurtful because, in the last year we went out to the food line, where they're lined up on US 1 at Education Way while they're waiting, and we knocked on windows and interviewed people on why are you here and what are you doing? And do you really need this food? And how come you've got a nice looking car? You know, and we had all kinds of different. So to judge people by who's inside this car, there was a neighbor that was just taking their neighbor because they didn't have a car, and so a neighbor was taking another, and yet people go by and they judge that the whole food process of Grace Community, that you're just giving food to wealthy people, and that is so wrong, and I really hope that if you hear that, you stop people and say, stop it. You know, how can you be that judgmental of somebody? Also, another one, he was picking it up for, he had 2 or 3 neighbors that were elderly that couldn't drive. And he would come and pick it up for them, and he had the credentials for them and everything. Yeah. So what are the credentials? What does it take to qualify to get, obviously, Elizabeth Ann Seton, if you're that bad a shape, you can come and you can get food, right, Terry, from that?
Yes, we have them fill out a form. But, you know, I've always said, I think the main thing, I'm not saying that most of the people that come in are poor, because they're not. So many people just get sick and lose hours at work.
That's right.
I've always said if everybody was on a salary, we wouldn't have this bigger problem, because, you know, you lose 2 days of work, and then maybe the kid gets sick, and that's another 2 days, and you've lost, and you're behind.
Yeah.
You're behind. So if we can help you with food, then then you can pay another bill, because we've given you food. So we know why people are coming. We do have comments on our file.
I mean, and you guys all know that, and you see it, and you feel it, and you feel. So everybody needs to stop being so judgmental on who we're helping to feed in this community. Parents work. I mean, my God. So, and go ahead and finish like what you were saying on the new USDA. Basically, poverty levels have doubled in.
Yeah, more than doubled.
More than 2 years, 3 years.
Mm-hmm. And you know, it used to be where now if you don't qualify income wise, there's supplemental. There's a SNAP program. They want to know if you're getting food stamps, temporary assistance to needy families. So let's say you're making more money than the qualification, but you have a hiccup. Somebody gets ill. Your car breaks down. You know, a divorce happens. There's a number of reasons. There is a stopgap measure that we can employ, which is temporary assistance to needy families, and we qualify them for that. The bottom line is they're not going to be standing. It takes a lot to go to an outreach center. It takes a lot to stand in have your car in a line for 2 to 3 hours, especially in the summer. Like, you would not be coming unless you needed it. You know, so.
And people were embarrassed too when we knocked on their windows. They were like, "Oh, what do you want?" You know, and we're like, "Hey, can we ask you?" And they go, "No, I'd rather not anybody know that I'm here," because they were embarrassed. They were humiliated that they never ever thought they would have to be sitting in a food line. They never saw themselves.
Yeah, it's a shame for people to think that you're there looking for a handout rather than a hand up. And you know, it's a poor perspective on your community, your fellow community member, that you would think that they're takers, and you know they don't really want to be there. They'd rather be shopping at Publix. You know, that would be a treat.
So true. Yes.
Yeah. So how about you? How about your food? Terry, how do you get your food at Elizabeth Ann Seton? How do you get the food to provide for 250 families?
I got to first shout out to all our parishioners at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. They are amazing. Each week in our bulletin we put what we need, and they come through. But of course, it's still not enough with all the people that we're helping. So, Publix, Aldi, we do get some stuff from Wawa weekly. So, it's the cans are what's hard to keep on the shelves.
That's right.
Publix. I've been doing this for 19 years, and every Monday morning, some of our volunteers go and pick up bread and sweets. What we have left over, we bring to Grace at the end of the week.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so what about you, Charles? You have a mega operation there, 65. She's 250 families, and you're 6,500 at the peak for the most part. You have to prepare for.
Yeah. So I deal with three food banks because I can't get enough from one. And one of the what helps us a lot is our main item is frozen protein. As Terry just said, dry goods is very hard to get right now. There's a lot of competition for that. Not only that, it's very expensive. So if I were to spend money to buy pallets, I would have to buy 6 pallets a week just to give somebody 6 pounds of food in a bag. But that would cost me about $6,000 a week. So that's you can't do that. So sometimes we don't have enough dry goods to go around, but we make that up by having fresh produce. And so we get a lot of our produce, and I don't pay for produce. I pay for dry goods and frozen protein. So I have to make a decision. I'm just going to go with the frozen protein. It's better for you. And it's usually chicken or hamburger or something like that. And then I'm able to give them a whole case of a variety of produce. And if we have dairy, we give dairy. Also, the bakery, things like that. So they get a good amount of food. But it's not going to give them every meal they need for a family of 5 or 6. For the week, because everybody gets the same amount regardless how what your family size is. We can't do that anymore. It just takes too much time. We have to get them off the highway. We have, when you see the line out there, we have to get them off the highway. And so we just tell them, you can come back again next week. You can come back as you need. It used to be every 2 weeks, but now it's every week because people need the food.
So in a box, everybody gets a cardboard box with food, right?
They get a banana box, which is pretty sizable. I'd say probably, when you consider everything, it's well over $100 worth if you were to go to a store to buy it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, and what's the answer to this? I mean, it seems like we're going the wrong direction. I was just looking here. Household debt balances continues steady increase. Debt balances. Delinquency transition rates remain elevated for cars and credit cards. And on your credit rating, the one thing they always look at is, did you make your car payments? If you didn't make your credit card payments, you can still go. But once you miss a car payment, you're down to the bottom of the barrel. With that's the one payment you always want to make is your car payment. At least that's what the car dealer told me. Anyway. Forget the house. Yeah, make your car payment.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's true. And the credit cards, people are paying rent. They're buying food with their credit cards, and the interest rates are so high. It just seems like God, how do we get out of this spiral downturn thing?
Right. Well, hopefully the economy starts to roll, and because it's been really rough. Businesses have felt it. I'm a businessman and on the side, and we've all felt that. But now there's an optimism right now, and hopefully that will pan out on the short term, because I think that's the answer when people start making more money, and then just using it as wisely as you can. I mean, it's just really hard to rent is just nuts. So it went from $900 a month to double that now. So everything is up. It's just the cost of living. Yeah. So there's people have to be kind of creative as to what they're as to what they eat. And one of the things that we need to watch out for is that typically what happens is that we think that we're just going to fill a stomach, and we give them the wrong foods. And Bob will probably tell you that it's usually starches. So we've had people that seem overweight. Well, they could miss a meal. Somebody said, I asked that volunteer never to come back. It's not the amount that they're eating; it's what they're eating.
Yeah. Wow.
And right, and the whole thing is, and what I'm really hoping our listeners right now, if there's not a real charity that you have latched onto, and you feel like, I think you say it's in the DNA that God created us for a desire to be helpful in community and all those kind of things. Consider the $1 Million Foodathon and Grace Community Food Pantry as something to hook onto. And also tell your friends about it and say, even if it's $10 or $50 or $100. I mean, we had a little girl come in and donate her $5 allowance. We do that live on the air, like I say, when people call in with their pledges, which we're going to do in October this year, by the way. Where we're going to ask everybody, but we want to get a jump start on it because we really want to get to that $100,000 mark this year. So,
Sure, yeah.
well, hey, John, maybe the Chamber of Commerce can help us get to that mark. Is there any put you on the spot here? I know you've only been on the job a week, but can you?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out which end is up and where my office is on some days. But yeah, I think it's something that we all need to rally together to do.
Yeah.
They oftentimes talk about time, treasure, and talent. And some folks, treasure, can make donations financially. Other folks might be able to donate their time to support this organization at Seton or this organization at Grace or any other organization.
Yeah.
Then, of course, you've got the talent. Somebody who is physically capable of helping to load boxes of food into someone's car. You need people to do that.
Sure.
You need people to do that. So there's a lot of different ways to get involved, and I hope that's one of the things the Chamber can do is continue to rally the business community together and rally the community to the businesses to help everyone to work together for a better Flagler County.
Okay, Bob Snyder.
Yeah, so listen, everyone, please. Tomorrow's going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be in the mid-50s to start, going to be in the low 70s, beautiful blue sky. Come to St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Catholic Church. That's where the Food Truck Palooza is going to be taking place to benefit Grace Community and our outreach ministry and food pantry at St. Elizabeth's from 10 till 4 o'clock. Right, David? I got that right, I hope.
Yeah.
And we're going to have how many food trucks? About 15 food trucks?
We've got a lot of food. I know that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a lot here. As we have and these are great. By the way, the food truck business is really,
That's really
blown
good,
up, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, it used to be just kind of dumpy. Like gypsies along the road, selling stuff. But now, I mean, these are first class. And the food, like we have the Greek hero. I've been corrected. They're not heroes. Did you know that, Brian? How to pronounce? They're called
Hero
Put you on the
work.
spot,
No,
Brian.
yeah, he put me. Yeah, he's like,
Hero does the
no,
job.
heroes. You got to roll your tongue.
And they are delicious.
Yes, and so we have authentic those hand tossed pizzas. They make them
Yes.
right in front of you there. I think that's cool. That,
Wow.
you don't see a lot. And we've got barbecue, pulled pork, beef, chicken, and I think ribs, and supposedly the best macaroni and cheese you've ever had. And we want you to bring the kids too. It's like a homemade macaroni and cheese, which is,
Kids love macaroni and cheese, David. Oh, man.
well, don't you?
It's comfort food.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I've lived on macaroni and cheese and hot dogs. I wouldn't be alive today if it wasn't for that. Anyway. And we do have hamburgers and hot dogs, kettle corn, funnel cakes, ice cream, and we're going to have beer, and we're going to have live entertainment.
Beer garden. And yes, who's our entertainment?
A guy named Robert Keel. I saw him. He was playing at one of the beach bars and was wearing a derby and harmonica and playing. He's a songwriter, and he was just so good, interactive with the crowd and, making everybody. So I wanted that pub feel a little bit where people could sit, enjoy, let the kids, bounce in the bounce house and, and have fun and just come and have lunch tomorrow. That's all we're asking on Saturday, Elizabeth Ann Seton Church.
We got plenty of room for everyone on our campus, right, Terry? So really, and and we know it's Bike Week, but gosh, bikers, if you want a little change of pace
There you
and
go.
participate and
Yeah.
get some really great food and just be with us.
Yeah,
Something
bikers.
different. Come on out.
So we are going to hit you up for a donation when you pull in. So $10 a car. And if you want to give more than that, fine. And if you can't afford that, then just give what you can afford. We still want you to come to it.
Hey, David, how did this come about? Because it's great what Mother Seton is doing. I mean,
Well, I guess you used to do it at the high school,
We did.
and they couldn't do it anymore. And Bob suggested us because we have room.
oh,
that's-
look at
Yeah.
Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at Bob there. Well, I mean, what a great location. I mean, Elizabeth Ann Seton.
it's great.
It's
Yeah.
right. It's right there. And
Could I read a
it's,
prayer before we go? Before you stop us?
well, we're not done yet.
Oh, good.
Well, let's hold that for the end.
You haven't even had a commercial yet.
I would hate to. Yeah, I know. We pray before a commercial or after. I'm not quite sure, but we will get the prayer in. But I wouldn't want to be the one to follow the prayer. Okay. So well, let's take a break, and then we'll be back. We're going to get to know John Phillips a little bit more. He is our new Palm Coast Flagler Regional Chamber President, who just came in. We got to get our chamber in order. It's been kind of off the tracks and out of whack, but we got John to bring us in and do some good things for the community. We're talking about Food Truck Palooza. Pastor Charles Solano, we have also got with us today in the studio. Terry Kenley and Bob Snyder with the Grace Community Food Pantry. We're helping out, and also Elizabeth Ann Seton Church. We'll be right back.
Hi, this This is Ashley Katz of Serenity Realty Group. Managing properties can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. My team and I take pride in providing top-notch service to both owners and tenants. Call me today at 386-221-2255. Serenity Realty Group. Peace of mind, one property at a time.
At Dignity Memorial Providers, Craig Flagler Palms Funeral Home and Flagler Memorial Gardens deliver compassionate care, personalized service, and exceptional customer satisfaction. There are options for everyone and discounts for pre-planning. They're always happy to show you their facility. Learn more at dignitymemorial.com.
Don't even think about climbing that ladder.
We got a guy that'll do it for you.
If you're going to do it right with Benjamin Moore.
We've got the professional painters and the best paint.
Benjamin Moore, corner of Old Kings and Utility Drive.
Palm Coast.
It's kind of cool being in a small community like Palm Coast, Flagler County. So I lived in big cities in Tampa Bay and worked in radio broadcasting there and other places, but there's nothing like Flagler County. In a big metro, everything gets lost, kind of. It's really hard to kind of wrap your head around. It's so, you got like 3-4 million people. And John, I know with a Chamber of Commerce, same thing. I think Chamber of Commerce in a small community is a lot of times more important.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the things, honestly, that attracted me to this job is the things that are going on here in what I consider a small town business community. You've got a small town paper. Brian represents that. Small town radio, you represent that. This doesn't happen in bigger communities. Radio does, newspapers do. I'm not saying that, but it's local talk, local news, local businesses, local community, and so this is very attractive to me as a businessman and somebody who was looking to impact the community.
And the small businesses here, which is just about all of them, are great donors to the causes too, not just for the food pantry and keeping people fed, but also, we did a cash flow. Remember, we should pull that. Oh yeah, you'd love this one. Pull out. I did the numbers. This is last year on. Okay, so I give $100 to the Grace Community Food Pantry. He buys $500 of the food. That's $500 per. Brian, you're good with math. Get ready for this. Okay, let's do this. $500 per, whatever. So 6,500 people, right? Okay, right. So that $100, so that saves how much cash that can be spent back into the local economy that they don't have to go spend at the grocery store.
That's true.
And it was hundreds of thousands of dollars a month that just the Grace Community Food Pantry frees up in spendable cash for families in need.
It's actually $3.25 million. $500 times 6,500 families is $3.25 million.
That's amazing, isn't it? And so when you have these other little outreaches, they're on, they may be smaller, but they're having an impact as well. Because there's maybe 6 or 7 pantries in Flagler that are steady and do it every week, that kind of a thing.
The other thing is it makes an immediate impact because that money, I mean, when you're struggling, if you get the money, you're spending it.
That's right.
And if you're spending it locally, then that money is then just helping those other local businesses that they're spending on pay their employees.
That's
and
true.
then they come in and they buy stuff at the grocery store. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of continues to circulate and multiply.
Pay for the daycare. And the daycare workers can then go and make their car payments. And so if you try, that's why, here we go. Here's another project for you with the chamber, is, to buy local. Because if you track that $1 that you spend at a local business, and then that person works there who lives here locally, spends that same dollar at another business, that $1 bounces around within the boundaries of Flagler County. That's like powerful.
Yeah. You might have to make it a $5 bill.
Yeah.
So you can actually buy something with it.
Let's just go with 10. All right. Yeah. So everybody is feeling it right now. But this is the same time that pain, use it to feel good about helping other people in the same line, just whatever you can.
Yeah, people are very grateful. I just want to put that out there. They're extremely grateful. We get a lot of God bless you. Thank you for helping us out. Wouldn't be able to do it without you. We get a lot of that. We're really blessed.
I looked up 5 reasons people give to charities. Number 1 was because it makes you feel good, or it should make you feel good. Yeah. If you're like miserable helping or giving something to somebody, okay, then have fun. Okay. But to me, it always feels good. Whether you hold the door for somebody or just a smile and say hi. And And all of a sudden they smile back like, whoa. I mean, to me, those are things that make me feel good, very, simple type things. But with this, I think when you donate to the cause and you come to Food Truck Palooza and, throw $10 in the hat when you come in and have a good time, it's also a good thing to show your kids. Teach your kids the value of charity and giving and use it as an example and let them know why, go, oh, they're hitting us up for $10 or whatever, and say like, hey, no, we're happy to give that 10 and here's another 5 or whatever we can do, or have the kids contribute to it, because this is part of how we want to train our kids that these are good reasons. And when you drive by all the cars lined up at the Grace Community Food Pantry, a good learning chance to teach your kids or your neighbors or your friends, if they go, look at all those nice cars in line. And say, how can you judge people by what's in there? You don't know what is going on, and yet, and they do have to qualify, and they are certified, and they do have things like that. So it isn't what people say. So we need our listeners' help and everybody to stop the spread of false information about these things, because it's hurting, the people in need.
And unfortunately, people could be living in that car.
Yeah. That's a lot of it.
I didn't think about that. Yeah. You're right, Terry. Let's see. Oh, yeah, and also it's a good way to, the other one was, but they like giving to a charity and being involved because they socialize with those people, and it's kind of a common bond. And I saw that at Elizabeth Ann Seton when we went to talk about doing our Food Truck Palooza there, and I was like, this is like a fun place, I wish I was Catholic.
We try to keep it light because people are embarrassed, but so we try to keep it light.
It is. You got a fun group of people there that do that. I mean, so that I thought was really cool, and it was a great experience. And I'm like, I love this Elizabeth Ann Seton Church, and I've driven by it for all these years and had no idea what was going on.
Hear that? So David wants to convert, is what it sounded like.
I know. No, I would go, but I'm afraid. I know you got to stand up, sit down, and kneel, and all this, and I would be like a line dancer out of line,
We will forgive you of all that, David. You can just stay seated, okay?
Okay. All right. Hey, here's another little fact I got here that I thought was cool. I'm sure. Okay. All right, Brian, here you go. Imagine this, because we're talking about what $1 million is. And now, like in the news, you hear million, billion, trillion, and just how does all this relate? So here's one. All right, Brian. Mm-hmm. If I gave you a dollar bill...
Am I supposed to be getting my calculator out again?
No, I already did it for you. Okay. You can pay attention. If I gave you a dollar bill a second, like 1, 2, 3, 4, it would take continuously, 24 hours a day, 11 and a half days to get to $1 million in ones that I handed you. Okay, so 11 and a half days straight handing you dollar bills every second would be $1 million. $1 billion doing the same thing, a dollar bill every second, would be 31 years of continuously. That's the difference between $1 million and $1 billion.
Well, we lose track of that, don't we?
and $1 trillion, all right, by doing that, handing you a dollar bill every second, it would take 31,688 years. That's the difference between 31 years doing that for $1 billion, 31,000 years for $1 trillion. Wow. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
I mean, so anyway, so we go, $1 million, billion. Next thing you know, we're talking a lot of money here, that kind of thing. I mean, so here, all we're asking here in Flagler County is just enough so we can buy $1 million worth of food, or $500,000 this year is kind of what we're hoping for.
Yeah, amen. And I would like to add for Terry here and Elizabeth Ann Seton, and for ourselves, the money goes direct to food. We're volunteers.
Yeah.
We're
all volunteers.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the other thing to add about supporting these two great organizations. Because they have the volunteers, the money that you donate is going to be used incredibly efficiently. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of overhead costs that goes into it, and so supporting local charities like this church and his organization, it really does allow that money to be used properly and efficiently.
Bob?
And food insecurity is, of course, a big issue for us at St. Elizabeth's, but we also help out with rent on occasion, don't we, Terry?
That's right.
Yeah, it's a very small amount, like a past-due electric bill or a past-due water bill if somebody has gotten in a hole. We can help a small amount by appointment,
And the schools will tell you that there are hundreds of kids here, families here, that are homeless in Flagler County.
There's almost 400. We do a backpack program every week, and there's almost 400. As a matter of fact, we've established 2 mini food pantries within 2 schools. And the teenagers in there are starting to speak out and say, thank you. I don't have to worry about this anymore. Not only that, I have friends who could use this as well. They're actually telling the resource officers their story. So it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, some very sad stories I've heard from kids where they're thrilled to come to school because they are fed breakfast, lunch, and food after school, and the weekends were more challenging for them because of their home life and the things they have to deal with. And that's the backpack program that you're referring to, and other programs like that, where kids, they get 3 meals a day in many schools because the after-school program they might stick around for, and when they go home, they're not so sure.
And what about when school is out for the summer?
Yeah, 100%.
Then the parents have to suddenly, in daycare, my God, you talk about rent, whereas, it used to be, like you say, $900, you could find a pretty decent place to live and be comfortable. Now that's $1,600, $1,800 for my granddaughter. She does, food service at Longhorns. Thank you, everybody. Alana, tip her heavily when you go there. And also at the High Tulip, and she loves what she does, and she's, she's got to work 2 jobs. She works really hard and everything, just barely, making ends meet to have a 1-bedroom apartment. Brian?
I didn't want to interrupt you, but I just want to. The school system does have free meals during the summer. So if anybody's listening to this and wants to know a little bit about it, it's called the Summer Food Service Program. If you go to the Palm Coast Observer website, you should be able to find this, but the program is June 9th to August 1st, and it's at 12 different sites around the community, and other groups and churches are now able to participate in the program. That it's kind of a new thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll try to see if there's...
That's grown to 12.
Yeah.
It used to be as little as 5. It's really expanding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do a prayer here. Okay. Are you a preacher, Terry?
No, it's this. I just think this will resonate with people.
Well, you don't have to be. I was just asking. I thought maybe you were a minister or something, but no. But okay, you're just one of us.
This is our outreach prayer.
Okay. Let's everybody.
Everybody. Oh God, when I have food, help me to remember the hungry. When I have work, help me to remember the jobless. When I have a warm home, help me to remember the homeless. When I am without pain, help me to remember those who suffer. In remembering, help me to destroy my complacency and bestir my compassion. Make me concerned enough to help by word and deed those who cry out for what we take for granted. Amen.
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 That was beautiful.
Are you allowed to, Catholic Church, can you clap for a prayer?
Sure.
All right. See, I'd be thrown out my first day. Anyway, no, that's really cool. And that really applies to what we're talking about here. Right. Even though, you can't get what you did at the grocery store, save a little for the food-a-thon here and feel good about it and spread the positive word about what we're doing with your friends on there. So, John, Phil, I want to get back to you here before we run out of time on our Chamber of Commerce. You're getting to know a lot of people real fast. We had the Spring Fest event. You were out there in Bunnell last weekend. So.
Yeah, Spring Fest last week was a beautiful day. They say Chamber of Commerce weather, and we were able to deliver. Estimates around 3,000 people walked through Joanne B. King Park, or King Park, excuse me. It was just a wonderful event and a great opportunity for me to meet a lot of people in the community. And I guess we're going to deliver more Chamber of Commerce weather tomorrow for the Food Truck Palooza. It's going to be just a beautiful day, and I hope folks will go out and it's almost like Spring Fest Part 2. Fun and games for the kids, some live music, some great food trucks. We had about a dozen last week at Spring Fest. So if you missed Spring Fest last week, you can go to Food Truckapalooza tomorrow and have the very similar experience and help support our community. So it's going to be a great day.
All right. Well, we're kind of getting the new Palm Coast Chamber of Commerce, back up and running. It went through some rough times. COVID totally kiboshed it, went out of business. We restarted it, trying to, get some of the community leaders to kick it off and everything. And I'm on the board, by the way, full disclosure here. And so I voice my opinion as well on those things. But how do you, as president here, what can we look for with basically a new Chamber of Commerce here?
I think that's a great way to describe it. A new Chamber of Commerce and a new day in Palm Coast and Flagler County. Whether the challenges in the chamber whether you know about them or don't know about them. I'm brand new. I'm on day 5. I've survived my first week on the job, and brighter times are ahead. And a new approach. I look forward to doing right now. Most of what I'm doing is listening and learning, and trying to meet as many people as possible and see what the concerns are. Because if you don't know what the concerns are, you can't address them. And so right now I'm trying to figure out what all those things are, and help us as a business community help the community, and help the community help the businesses, because we all have to work together. And obviously we've got an advocacy thing where we're connected with the government to try to advocate on behalf of the citizens and the businesses, and we're going to do that as well. But anyway, the bottom line is, if we all work together and get all of the oars rowing in the same direction, it will benefit everyone. And that's really my overarching goal, is to get everything going in a more positive fashion, and so we can all help and grow and do better things here in Flagler County.
Well, it's almost impossible not to get polarized anymore with things that, we're so quick with social media to judge, just like we're talking about with the food pantry. Who would think, like, how could there be any polarization, people pro or con a food pantry, for God's sakes, and yet there is. So what, the Chamber of Commerce now, is this chamber going to step up? Are we going to see John Phillips, your face at the city council meeting, saying that the chamber supports this and that, or are we going to, try to make everybody happy?
And my short answer would be, you're going to see my face at those meetings, and what's going to be said and done, it's yet to be determined. Right now, I'm just going to be there and be listening and trying to find out what the most important issues are that are going on in this community, whether that be in Palm Coast or Flagler Beach or Bunnell, because, again, this chamber represents all of Flagler County. A lot of our businesses are focused, and our residents are focused around Palm Coast, but this is the Palm Coast Flagler Regional Chamber, and it's not just Palm Coast. Mm-hmm. So right now, my job is to go to all of those meetings, meet with all those people, and try to learn as much as I can to try to help all of us to do better here in this community. And easier said than done. Trust me, I don't live in that kind of a world. But at the same time, I can't tell you what I'm going to go and support, because I don't know those issues just yet. But I'm going to be out there listening, not only to the government leaders, but to our local residents, to our local business leaders, and trying to learn as much as possible and get this thing going the right way.
Ryan McMillan.
So I have a copy of this week's Observer in front of me, and one of the headlines says, and this is online as well, seeing no alternative, Palm Coast City Council votes 3-1 to raise rates and fix utility infrastructure. This has been something that's been a major issue in the community for a long time, and there's been votes that have been no, we don't want to raise rates. We're going to wait on infrastructure. Now the state says basically you have to, and so they voted 3-1 to do this. I posted that story on social media, and there were 100 comments, and basically all of them, I mean, literally, there might have been one or two that thought that was a good idea, mm-hmm. and everyone else said it was a bad idea. How dare you raise our rates? How dare the developers not pay for their fair share? And a lot of things that are, some of the comments show a little bit of misunderstanding of the history or the total circumstances. But it was pretty interesting to see the overwhelming consensus. And I just bring that up because we're in this is a pretty, contentious kind of environment right now around these kind of issues. I think it's not unique to Palm Coast. It's Florida wide, if not more. But yeah, I'm just kind of, again, curious. I know that kind of issue is probably not surprising to you, but
no, not at all. And I think it is Florida wide. Infrastructure issues, period, are Florida wide, especially with the recent hurricanes and things that have impacted Palm Coast, Flagler County, Volusia County, Seminole County. Go through the whole list of the state. Infrastructure issues with flooding because of various storms, whether that's related to too much growth, not enough infrastructure, growing too quickly, whatever those answers are. And I certainly don't have all of those answers, but there is a 100% consensus that infrastructure issues are a challenge right now across the entire state. And so we're going to have to address those at some point. And Whether this is the right decision or the wrong decision is not for me to decide, but we have to address those infrastructure issues moving forward.
Charles, you were going to say something.
I just want to thank you for your passion for what you do for us, giving us this show here. And I want to thank Brian for his support as well. What you two guys do for organizations like us, we are very appreciative. Thank you for taking the time and investing your time.
All right. Well, thank you, Charles. Are we going to see you out there tomorrow at Food Truck Palooza?
I heard a true, you just told me what the menu is. So
All right. All right. Very good. Yeah, we do have to wrap it up here. John Phillips, our new president of the Palm Coast Flagler Regional Chamber of Commerce. Final words from you.
Yeah, I would just say those folks that would like a better chance to get to know me and what the chamber is, reach out. I'm more than happy to meet, chat, phone call. Sit down, whatever those things are. I want to hear from folks. So you can go to our website, pcfchamber.com. My email address is on there. If you want to write it down right now, it's pretty simple, john@pcfchamber.com. You can shoot me an email. You can call me in the office. And again, I'm thrilled to be here, thrilled to get started, and I just want to learn and listen as much as possible to try to help everyone to do better for a better Palm Coast and a better Flagler County.
All right. We're glad to have you here. And we had a lot of applicants and screened them through. And here's John Phillips. So congrats on,
appreciate
on the
it.
job.
Thank you.
All right. Terry Kenley, final words from you.
Yeah, just thank you for. I also want to give a shout out. I forgot to say about the Elks, and they always give us food. And at one point, Golden Lion gave us money for food. So we do have other people out there that are supporting us.
Okay,
and I'm
very
very
good.
happy that we're sharing it with Grace is sharing all this with us.
All right. With Elizabeth Ann Seaton, Bob Snyder.
Yeah, David, echo Charles, Pastor Solano, your comments about David. I appreciate our friendship, buddy, and looking forward to volunteering tomorrow throughout the entire day out at Food Truck Palooza with you and your staff.
Yep. We'll be out there having fun. Thank you.
And our St. Elizabeth friends as well.
Yes. And Brian.
Yeah, I just want to again say thanks to these food warriors, that we have. I mean, it's all the volunteers. There's other food pantries also in the community, but I mean, it's really putting the gospel into action, and that's exciting and it's inspiring to see. So thank you for what you guys do, and happy to help support it in whatever we can.
All
Thanks,
right.
Brian.
I say amen, and thank you for that nice prayer today. Terry, we all could use that. Have a good one. Be safe out there. See you at Food Truck Palooza, Elizabeth Ann Seaton Church, Saturday, starting at 11 o'clock.